Hello everybody, thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to be doing the 7th Winter 2012-2013 Roundup video today. It's going to be the last one because next week we'll be doing the seasonal Roundup, seasonal model Roundup, and then the week after that, December the 2nd, marking your diaries because I'm going to be doing the Gabs Weather Vids forecast. That will be where we put these Roundup videos together with the seasonal model update videos. Everything's going to be put together. The NAO forecast as well from June, let's not forget that. It's all going to be put together, and we're going to attempt to come up with a forecast for winter 2012-2013. So all of these Roundup videos and the seasonal model videos, it's all building up now. Set December the 2nd of December. Mark it in your diaries. That's going to be the day when I will reveal what I'm predicting for the winter of 2012-2013. I had hoped to do the seasonal model Roundup today. I'm going to apologise for that. It's not, I can't do it because all of the seasonal models haven't updated, unfortunately. And I did say last week, but it may well be that some of the models won't come in quickly enough to get it done this weekend, and that's how it's proven. So next weekend, the 25th of November, I'll be doing the seasonal model Roundup video. The weekend after that, December the 2nd, Sunday, December the 2nd, is the day for the winter forecast from GabsWeatherVids.com. Now, before I get on with the video, I just want to talk about the advertising. There'll usually be a video ad overlaying my weather videos at GabsWeatherVids.com. Please play those videos. You'll be supporting GabsWeatherVids.com if you do that. The other thing I want to mention, a very exciting development, I'm going to be starting Gab Shop tomorrow. If you've got any Christmas shopping that you want to do at Amazon.co.uk, go through from Gab Shop because you'll be supporting GabsWeatherVids.com by doing that. And of course, you'll still be able to do your Christmas shopping at Amazon as well. So I'll be unveiling Gab Shop tomorrow, Monday. So do check that out. It's going to be very interesting and quite exciting. So we're going to start off with sea surface temperature anomalies. As you know, this video is all about looking at sea surface temperature anomalies, solar activity, things like that, ice and snow cover extent, see how things are developing. So there was 3 specific areas that we've been looking at in terms of the sea surface temperature anomalies. One was the Pacific region, seeing what the state PDO was in. The other was the ENSO region for the Equatorial Pacific, and then we've been looking closely at the Atlantic. Now, I'm actually very pleased I've got the opportunity to do this video because there has been some quite interesting developments, not necessarily with the sea surface temperature anomalies, but with some of the other things we're going to look at. Like any good story, there's got to be a twist in the tale, and this video is going to be the twist in the tale. So just bear with me and we'll get on to some of the other stuff. But the first one we're going to look at is the sea surface temperature anomalies. This was the situation the last time we did the video, the ENSO region. I said the El Nino is going nowhere. It still looks like it's going nowhere. Almost certainly going to be an ENSO neutral winter. This winter the PDO was cold, not as cold as it could be, but we're in the cold PDO. The Atlantic, like I said, we've got a good tripod. The tripod actually got better through the first week of November. That was the situation with warm, cold, warm bands. So yes, good tripod indicating a negative NAO. So now let's go on to the latest sea surface temperature. I mean, again, the ENSO region, no development at all really, and time has now pretty much run out for there to be an El Nino possible because it'll be peaking at Christmas anyway, and then sliding away. So ENSO almost certainly going to be neutral. I've still got to do a video just finishing off the El Nino prediction that I've been making since January. Actually, I'm going to do that sometime soon, just raising the white flag on the El Nino because the El Nino is going nowhere. The PDO has got a little bit colder in the last week, so cold PDO still goes on. And in terms of the Atlantic, well, we've still got the tripod, the warm, cold, warm bands. If anything, the tripod has got even better going into middle of the month. The cold anomaly here in the Central Atlantic has deepened somewhat. Go back to the first chart. That's the first chart. Go forward to the latest one from the 15th. Yes, the cold anomaly has got more intensity with central air, and the warm anomaly to the south of Greenland, that has increased as well, and we've still got the warmer band here in the tropical Atlantic. So everything's going swimmingly in terms of the Atlantic. If you want a negative NAO, that is a very good pattern. And for this region here that we've been looking at between Iceland and Scandinavia, cold has increased again up there. It keeps waxing and waning, but go back to this chart. That was the chart for the 8th with the extent of the cold anomaly between Iceland and Scandinavia going forward. Yes, it's increased again. This has been waxing and waning since September. It went very cold in September as all the ice melt flooded into the Atlantic. Then it picked up a bit through October, but it's cooling again. It cooled at the end of October. Then it rose up a little bit last week. Now it's cooled again, and this generally does look quite cool up here, and as I've said in other videos, this area here, if this is cool in conjunction with this area here being warm, that again is something that can point towards a negative NAO. So certainly in terms of the Atlantic, the distribution of the anomalies does look very good for a negative NAO. But now let's take a look at some of those twists I've been talking about. This is solar activity. This is from solarham.net, and we can see that we've got more sunspots here than we've had for quite a long time. Certainly since I've been doing this video, we've got more sunspots here. Actually, this has died down a little bit on what we have been seeing, and solar activity officially is low, but there's quite a bit of activity you see across the solar disk, but that's nothing compared to what's been going on this week, because earlier in the week we really did have a very sharp spike in activity indeed. This red line here, look how this spikes up. This is the sunspot numbers from NOAA, from NOAA. This goes right way back to December 2011, which is just there. This red line, as I say, is indicating sunspot activity. Notice that it spikes up at times. Of course, we're nearing solar maximum. I'll explain this in other videos. We are nearing solar maximum, so you expect it to spike up. But notice that we've had some have had these spikes here going through the autumn. This is the autumn period here, but generally solar activity has been quite weak, particularly through the first part of November. Very weak activity, but just look how that red line has spiked up this week. That has actually been the most, we've seen the most active activity this week than we've had all year, and you have to go right way back to the end of last year, November, December last year. You can't see it on this graph, but November, December last year was the last time we had a spike in activity as extensive as this. This hasn't reached what we saw at the end of last year, but nevertheless the sun really did ramp up. There it was a few days before, and just look how it spiked up. So it just goes to show you, even when the sun looks completely dormant, when you're nearing solar maximum, as we are, it's going to happen any time in the next 6 to 12 months. When you're nearing solar maximum, you can get these dramatic spikes in activity, and we've had one of those this week. So back to increased solar activity certainly does probably favour really a more active Atlantic, a more active jet stream, and probably less blocking. But if it's just a spike, it's probably nothing to worry about. If this is the start of a trend going on into the winter of increased activity, that will raise question marks, I think, over how much blocking we can get. Now the next twist in the tail is in terms of the stratosphere. Got a very, very cold stratosphere now. This black line is showing you where the stratospheric temperature is over the North Pole. The grey line is where we should be, and that stratospheric temperature has plunged. We're more or less as cold as we've been in the entire stratospheric record, which goes back to the late 70s for this time of the year. So we've got a really cold stratosphere. You would think that that would be playing into a very intense polar vortex over the Arctic and Greenland. It isn't, because it's not propagating down properly into the troposphere. But nevertheless, this cold line, this black line here, does indicate a very, very cold stratosphere. And that is something else that raises question marks about the extent of blocking for the first half of the winter, at least, or certainly going into December. As I've explained, when you get a stratospheric warming over the pole, that tends to coincide with more blocking over the pole. When you've got it cold, you tend to favour low pressure over the pole and over Greenland as well. As I say, extremely cold stratosphere there over the Arctic, and we're just lucky or unlucky, depending on whatever outcome you want this winter, that this isn't propagating down into the troposphere as it could do, but certainly a very cold stratosphere at the moment. And finally, having a look at snow cover extent across Eurasia. This was the situation last time I did the video, last Saturday, which was the 10th of November. Very, very good snow cover there that we built up at the end of October over Scandinavia. I said that was very impressive. It was very impressive, and going back in towards Siberia as well. So going forward though, we can see that we've lost a lot of that snow cover over Scandinavia. Much of it has melted as the NAO has turned positive. We've had a positive phase of the North Atlantic Oscillation, meaning increased westerliness of the Atlantic. That's brought milder air into a large part of Scandinavia and has melted a lot of that snow. Conversely though, we've actually increased the snow a little bit into western parts of Russia, though this far western part of Russia actually still snow free. We will really want to see this snow migrating now into the west of Russia, but this loss of the snow cover over Scandinavia is quite disappointing. Mind you, something very similar to this happened in 2009. Remember, 2009 was a very wet month across the British Isles. For Scandinavia, we actually built up some very decent snow cover at the end of October 2009, early November. Then much of it melted, but it didn't seem to have too much of an impact on the winter, because the Scandinavian high still built as we went into December, and that's probably largely down to this snow cover that we've seen over Siberia through October. It was October really that was important for laying the groundwork of the snow cover across Siberia. And we did that, and of course now it's laid across Siberia. That is maintained, so that does increase. That will feed back, I think, into Siberian high, trying to migrate into Scandinavia, and that snow cover we had over Scandinavia in October, at the end of October, it certainly would have helped that process. But now it's melted, I wouldn't be necessarily be too concerned about it. Scandinavia does see the snow melting on occasion, particularly this early in the winter, and I say it should feed back still into chance of increased blocking. But certainly a few twists in the tails there. Everything was going very well in terms of solar activity, particularly, and now we have got some twists in the tails going on. So really what we've got to look at now is see how things develop in the final stages of November. As I'm doing the seasonal forecast next week, having a look at all the seasonal models. Then I'll put the seasonal models together with these roundups on the 2nd of December. And we'll come up with a forecast for the United Kingdom for the winter of 2012-2013 on the 2nd of December. Put it in your diary. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.